Hello, welcome to Invest Like a CEO, and I have a very special guest for you that comes from a field that we don't normally get insight in. We are joined by Michael Jones, CEO of Delta Gold Technologies. Thank you so much for being with us.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
First of all, give us a quick overview of what your company does, because it's such an exciting space and we don't often get to sort of see a company or talk to someone that combines tech and gold, even though it's a minute amount.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, I've always been fascinated by gold. It's, I think it fascinates most people. It occupies a very special place in the periodic table, and it does unusual things. And I've found that fascinating for more than 20 years. And the way the company started was I simply asked a peculiar question to one of the head nanotech scientists in the world, and it created a whole cascade of investigation just by asking a silly question, actually. Why is gold doing certain things? And it turned out I asked one of the top people in the world in quantum computing, and that opened up a whole area of intellectual property.
Talk to us about this spinning. Every time I speak to someone about Delta Gold, I get this word spinning coming up.
Well, that's interesting because that's very in the technical engine room of what we're talking about. So gold has a very unusual electron shell. It can actually be in the 7 or the 8 electron shell. Very technical sort of thing. But how the electrons behave is actually part of the critical property that we're investigating in our research with University of Toronto. So spin of electron is actually part of exactly what we're working on.
This is fascinating. So I'm a goldsmith's granddaughter.
Wow.
So gold is very close to my heart. I've just recently been to a gold refiner as well. And the SAS still get issued gold coins when they're on missions. This specific spinning, can you do this with any other metal, or is it just particularly gold?
Well, I can't answer that for two reasons. The first one is I'm not fully a quantum physicist. And the second one is anything I do know about it, I'm starting to get into intellectual property we've got to be careful about. So, we do have to be very careful here, actually. Quantum computing is an enormously important thing, and that there's, I think, national security aspects, actually, of quantum computing. Whoever wins the quantum race has an enormous amount of power. And it's interesting that it's being researched all over the world by billions of dollars, and we haven't cracked it yet.
Right. Well, spin a little deeper into the company and exactly what the milestones are going to be. But first of all, I want to ask you, how do you invest as a CEO? You've got so much experience, right? So, I mean, I always teach our clients, how to stack the odds in your favor. How do you stack the odds in your favor?
Well, I have a diversified strategy. The first thing is the serious money my wife looks after. I don't. So that's part one. And she's much more risk averse than me. So I'm too much of a risk taker, to be perfectly honest. And when I do take risks, I take them in things that I know about and that I feel comfortable with both the sector and the people. So I'm always looking for something that is an expanding sector, a rapidly growing sector where there's enormous change, and then picking the people that are involved in that have a track record of successfully building companies. And quite frankly, I invest quite a bit in my own companies. So I invest in myself because I know I'm going to work hard at it.
Are there particular name sectors that you like? Do you have a filter list? Some people have a filter list.
I'd love to say that I'm that systematic. I'm not. I'm more random than that. I'm actually an opportunity taker, I think, and actually I believe in that as a strategy in a way.
You go with your gut feel.
Yeah, I go with my gut feel, and I move from opportunity to opportunity, and I like to think of myself as nimble, even though I've been around public markets and companies for 40 years. Investing-wise and structure-wise, I feel pretty nimble, and I like that way of investing. Not to have a grid, but actually to move from opportunity to opportunity.
Interesting. You're a rabbit.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So there are assassins, there are connoisseurs, there are rabbits, right? That move from things to things. Jamie, a person that I spoke with recently that you work with.
Yes.
He's got an interesting pillow filter or pillow test, and top of his list is management and so forth. Do you have a test that you look for to initially kind of pique your interest in a company, or does it come from just you meeting the management of the company? How does it work?
I think the first thing is the track record of the people. What have they done? What are the companies they've been associated with? What's their style of operating? And I look for companies that have people that have successfully built enterprises from 10 million to 100 million to $1 billion, and that they do that over a period of time. I always make the joke that it's a 10-year get-rich-quick scheme, and what I mean by that is it takes 5 to 10 years to build a real business. Yes, you can get lucky in the first 2 or 3 years, and we've seen examples of that certainly in the quantum space. But really, you have to have someone who sticks with it, who knows what they're doing. They're not in a hurry. They build it up brick by brick, and that's the style of management team I like to see, and it's something that I look for in people that I work with, frankly.
So brick by brick, tell us how this is going to play out with Delta Gold Technologies. What do investors have to look forward to?
So we have university partnerships and sponsorships, and we started with University of Toronto in Canada, and we actually discovered completely separately Penn State University in the United States was working on a very parallel track. And that actually came as a bit of an intellectual property threat that somebody else was working in the same zone. What if they discover what we're after before us?
What if they get to the party first?
Right. And so we actually went to them. Unfortunately, they didn't have a commercial sponsor yet, and we were able to secure an agreement for 100% of the intellectual property at Penn State as well. And now we have the two universities both working on gold, both in quantum space, working in parallel with each other with the opportunity to collaborate. So we turned a threat into an opportunity, actually, and expanded our universe. And that theme is something that investors should look for from us, is to build what we've termed a center of excellence. So we're looking for the best academics there are in the world in quantum, the absolute top people, and actually getting them to collaborate with each other under our sponsorship. So we sponsor each university in its own specialty, and then we have the specialists look crosswise to be able to collaborate. And certainly the university sponsorships can make amazing IP, but I suspect the real eureka moment is going to come out of that collaboration.
Now, from my simple understanding, this technology will enable compute to go faster. Is that correct?
So yeah, maybe we can start at the beginning of quantum computing. That might be an idea. So everybody's familiar with a bit, right? 8 bits, you make a byte. Everybody knows gigabytes, megabytes, how many are in your computer. So a bit is a 0 or a 1. It's a switch. It's on or it's off.
I need a lot more.
Yes, everybody always needs more bytes, which are 8 bits at a time. So that's a digital switch. Quantum computing works on something completely different. It's a qubit, and a qubit can be a 0, a 1, or something in between at the same time. Now that part gets really weird. It gets down into the quantum physics level where things can actually have superposition. They can be in 2 places at the same time. I know it doesn't make any sense, but that's what quantum physics is. So the qubit can actually contain a lot more information effectively. And one analogy to think about is a regular computer trying to solve a maze would go out at one thing at a time. A quantum computer will look at all of the possibilities instantaneously. So Google, for example, ran a test of a quantum computer. It took a calculation that would have taken a regular computer a septillion years, 10 to the 27 years. It did it in 5 minutes.
Wow.
It's that much faster. However, there's a problem. These little qubits are not stable. They're actually only stable for a millisecond, a fraction of a second. And they tend to get unstable and make mistakes. So one of the most powerful quantum computers in the world makes a mistake about every 1 in 6.7 million times. That sounds pretty good. Your laptop is 1 billion times more accurate. 1 billion times more accurate. So it's not ready for prime time yet. And a lot of the effort in quantum research is taking the fundamental element of a qubit and trying to make it more stable or correct its errors. And so we take a completely different approach. We're actually going all the way back to the beginning, to the fundamental creation of the qubit in the first place, and how can we make it more stable. And Dr. Ruda, our principal investigator at University of Toronto, believes the materials that we've discovered are actually orders of magnitude more stable in being able to hold the qubit in the first place.
Right.
So that's what our technology is about. And one way that I think about it is that a number of major players are down a hallway of investigation on a certain path of physics, and they're trying to open the doors at the end of the hallway to make a stable qubit. we're actually at the beginning. We're starting our own hallway. So the question is, do they open their doors first, or do we get partway down that shows that some of the doors are already open? That's enormously exciting. It's risky, but it's enormously exciting. And the fact that all the players out there in the world are actually investigating different fundamental forms of physics, that means that the physics is not settled. And so the fundamental aspect of a quantum computer is still available for someone to discover.
So, Mike, who are the other players in this? It sounds like David and Goliath.
Absolutely. It's the biggest David you can imagine. I mean, it's Google, it's Microsoft, it's IBM.
NVIDIA?
Absolutely. I mean, they all have people working in quantum. A lot of effort in quantum is on the software side of, if we have a quantum computer, what do we do with it, which is an enormous area of research and effort as well. But we're, again, right at the core of it, and the big players are spending literally billions of dollars a year. I mean, I don't think the public realizes how big this industry actually is. I mean, IBM, Google is spending $5 billion a year on research of how to perfect this. So, and it's because it's so enormously powerful. But we believe there's an opportunity right back at the beginning of the physics, actually.
So clients watching this, and many of them like me, so I have this like real geek out moment. I get messages going, Ange, you really need to go out a bit more. I'm that person that watches the whole Jensen Huang speech whenever it's like 3 hours. I mean, this man has got stamina. So explain why someone watching this would go, well, invest in your company and not like the NVIDIAs, right? The Microsofts, the Googles, the Alphabets.
Well, the first thing is it's a pure play. The Alphabets are doing all kinds of things, as we know, right? They're all over the internet. They're all over all kinds of devices. They're in every part of computing business. So it's a diversified investment, and quantum is one of the real spices that could actually jazz performance, for sure, enormously, at tens of billions of dollars of scale. I mean, a company like Rigetti, for example, is solely in quantum. They have about a $20 billion market cap, by the way, and they're working on a particular perfecting of a certain path. We're small. We're the little guy, as you pointed out. So we're at the beginning, and if we're right, in fact, we only need to be about 10% right, because the threat that we're actually all the way right, I think, will be very interesting to the larger players. And we'll either look at licensing revenues and licensing down the road, or somebody may just say, that's enough, we'll have that. And we think with the global collaboration we've put together, that on its own is actually quite interesting as an assembly of the top academics.
What are the kickers? What are the hurdles? I mean, anyone watching the headlines right now will go, oh my goodness, there's like several wars going on, Middle East, Trump may say it's over, but those on the ground say it's nowhere over. Is this a kicker? Is this potentially going to detract from your space?
I don't think so. I think national security is going to be ever present in our investing world. I think regardless of the current conflicts and so on, national security, I think, is going to be in the front minds of investors for a long time. And certainly quantum is a national security issue. And I've worked in Canadian diamonds before, which had a very interesting national security element. And so I'm well familiar, actually, of how to align yourself correctly with national security interests. And protection of our IP is something that, we will get national level help. Our countries are going to be Canada, the United States, and the UK. And in that grouping, we'll be very careful about how we protect our IP.
So, Mike, let's come down to that key question now. Who are your potential biggest customers?
It's everybody, actually. I mean, quantum computing has application in every sector you can imagine. Interestingly, HSBC is one of the banks that's actually doing a lot of quantum work, looking at quantum encryption particularly, and keeping data secure. I mean, that's the problem with a quantum computer from a threat point of view, is that it can crack our current encryption in a split second. So, banking, transfer of data, your personal information, Bitcoin, and so on, all at threat to do with quantum computing. It'll solve those algorithms. So HSBC actually did an interesting experiment where they ran a bond trading model using a quantum computer. Even though the quantum computer isn't perfect, makes mistakes, it still performed 35% better than a traditional computer model. That's a big deal in bond trading. So it gives you an idea of the kind of applications in the banking sector. Military, healthcare, modeling viruses, it goes on and on and on. Every computer application you can think of, a quantum computer can play enormous roles. And I think the big thing is it's transformative technology that we currently can't even imagine what it'll do. In our wildest imagination, we don't know what a quantum computer is going to do. It's that transformative.
And key milestones, key dates, Mike, that investors need to look at.
So the first thing is in the next 6 to 9 months, we'll start working on protecting some of our initial intellectual property. So we'll look at provisional patent applications. That'll become a disclosable event. And those patents will then, over the next 6 to 12 months, be converted into specific patents. So certainly our patenting information and protecting some of our IP will be big for investors. And also expanding our university network. So we have 2 now. And interestingly, with 2 top academics, they attract other top academics. So we've actually got quite a little group that actually wants to join our gang, which is very exciting. And I think that's big news for investors. In terms of actual revenue and partnerships and so on, we're realistic about that. That's 2 years out. So 2 years from now, we'll have our IP nailed down. We'll have our initial discoveries. We'll still be working with a number of universities, and then we can look at who we might partner or license with.
Brilliant. I also know that you are especially skilled on the slopes. You're a skier or snowboarder?
I'm a skier for sure. I've always been a skier.
I'm very, very impressed by the double diamonds in Canada. Here in Europe, we would have shut those runs. And you give them such crazy names as well, because they sound so docile, like a rock garden, and then you commit yourself, and then you're in the middle of the black run with boulders.
Yes,
right?
Well, one of my favorite ones is Bark Sandwich.
Oh, I've not heard of Bark Sandwich.
Bark Sandwich is in Whistler, and it goes down through a whole bunch of really tight trees. That's the name, Bark Sandwich. So there you go.
You have to cling on to trees to actually stop
No,
yourself.
you want to avoid the trees. Avoid the trees. Don't think about the trees.
Do you think that this space that you're in is going to continue being a double diamond for some time, or give us some time frame? I always talk about duration with investing, or maybe in a year's time this might become a black run, then maybe in 2 years it becomes a red, right?
So most of the large players are actually talking out in 2035.
Wow, okay.
So this is a while, right?
So what, 2035 to red, or 2035 to a blue? What are we talking about?
2035 to a blue being a fully available quantum computer that's commercial, right? And I think for us, the next 3 years to 5 years is the most exciting, because it offers the potential to find a different way of making a qubit. I mean, we're right in the heart of the machine in the engine room, right? So, the applications, the other things that people have done, that work would still have to be done on our form of qubit. There's a lot of work to do. But the discovery for us is actually making one that's stable and demonstrating that. And that we think we can do in the next 3 years.
Have you tried something else other than gold?
In terms of materials?
Yeah. I have to ask that.
We actually combine gold with some other things, a little bit of a secret sauce. And interestingly, at University of Toronto, it was amazing. I was there a couple of weeks ago, and there's a picture actually on one of our news releases of a machine that is more of a perfect vacuum than space. There's actually nothing in there. And they're actually placed, really nothing in there.
Like my brain sometimes.
Yeah. And they're actually placing, it's beyond Star Trek. They're actually placing atoms one at a time to make it flat. Like, we're talking flat, like flat at the one atom level. So they're actually placing individual atoms next to each other to make a surface, and observing that and controlling it, which it looks like something out of Jules Verne in a submarine, stainless steel and so on.
Yeah.
And they start from a clean room, but then they go like really hyper clean, and they actually place the atoms to make our device with gold and something else. So really, really, really interesting to see. I mean, the level at which science is getting applied here. And this is enormously exciting about research labs and collaboration with universities. I mean, there's $20 million worth of gear in that lab, right? And we have a collaboration with the university, so we get access to it. We're adding the world's most expensive beer fridge, by the way, for university. It's a $650,000 fridge, and it will really freeze things. In fact, it goes to within half a degree of absolute zero.
Wow.
Yeah, 450 degrees minus. So it will get things to that, and that's being assembled at the university. So not only do we have a perfect vacuum, we also have almost perfectly no temperature, which helps the initial experiments in qubits be more stable. You don't want outside energy interfering with your qubit. But it's quite an amazing thing that I said, what do we need? And it said, well, we need a fridge. And I was like, how much is the fridge? It's 650 Canadian.
Wow.
So, but those are the kind of, around that machine, you got tunneling electron microscopes, you've got all kinds of extremely high-tech gear that you're working within. It's enormously exciting.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for taking some of your precious time to be with us, Mike, to tell us all about this new technology. Mike Jones, the CEO of Delta Gold Technologies.